All right, hello and welcome to Stay Paid, the podcast on a mission to help you close more deals and retain more business so you can live a life of freedom tomorrow, but only if you take action today. My name is Joshua Stike, and I am joined as always by Luke Acree.
And I am really hungry right now because Josh, just before this podcast, guys, just told us about his amazing turkey frying skills.
Yes. This podcast will come out after Thanksgiving.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry, my bad.
I will have, no, it's all right. I will still have leftover turkeys from my deep fryer.
Yes, we told him to bring in some potato chips because he's going to fry some potato chips.
After you deep fry the turkey, there's a lot of peanut oil left over that you have to do something with. So then you just start getting creative with what
Although
else
I might prefer the fried Oreos.
Deep fried Oreos are fantastic.
Yes.
I've heard deep fried butter. I haven't tried that yet, but I'm going to maybe try that this year.
Deep fried butter?
You take a stick of
That's
butter.
That's like a heart attack.
You coat it.
Would you really eat a stick of butter?
I would absolutely try everything once.
No way. Dude, that sounds disgusting. That sounds like it would clog your arteries right away. Deep fried pickles are good. I like that.
But anyway, I was out last week. We had an amazing podcast. So if you guys didn't get a chance to listen to that, please go back and check that one out with Phoenix Falconrath, our marketing services coach. She talked a lot about how to get customer testimonials. She spent a lot of time doing that for us. Yep. It's just super, super solid advice. I thought she did an awesome job.
Oh, she's incredible.
Check that out. But hey, look, we mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, our mission is to help you close more deals and retain more business. There is no better way to close more deals than by learning how to handle objections effectively and confidently. Like a boss. Your ability to overcome a prospect's objection is going to be the difference between closing that deal or getting to that appointment and maybe never speaking to that person again. So today we're going to pick Luke's brain on this topic because I truly believe that Luke is one of the most skilled people, not to make you blush here, buddy, but one of the most skilled people, especially after spending time at conferences that we've talked about on the podcast, at really being able to overcome objections, but not overcome objections in the sense that, like, I don't know, people are kind of
pushy.
Right. It's not like bulldozed. It's like I'll listen to them.
To bulldoze them, but yes,
because I'll go to you and be like, "Hey, I just had this objection. How do you handle that?" And when I'm listening, I'm like, "Yeah, that makes perfect sense." Because your skill, and this is going back to kind of it's a skill, but it's also, I think, at the core of it, your ability to overcome objections is belief.
Correct. Yes, I would agree with that.
Actually believe that our product or what we are selling can help change somebody's life, but it's also the skill of being able to pare it down to what the real issue, I guess, is, or really zone in on like kind of the
why
underlying
someone's
thing.
Really not buying. Yes, I think you're making a great point. I think one of the points I would make, because there's so much when it comes to overcoming objections, but one of the points I would make is the understanding that people buy off of emotion and they're convinced on logic. Mm-hmm. So like you hear that all the time in sales training, but people are convinced on logic, they buy on emotion. And you give the example a lot of times in sales training of it's like a car. Multiple cars can logically take you from point A to point B. So why does someone buy a Porsche versus someone buying a minivan, right? And, and I shouldn't say minivan, I say Hyundai Sonata like me or something, right? Well, the emotional side.
We have a minivan.
You have a minivan.
I can fit a 4x8 sheet of plywood flat.
I remember you saying this.
My minivan. It's my wife's minivan. I love it.
It helps you on your
She wants to get a new car. I'm like, please don't get a car. Keep the minivan.
Yeah, get a minivan or get an SUV. I want an SUV. But people buy, like when you think of objections, understand they're convinced on logic, they buy on emotion. The objection game is a mixture of both, because what you have to be really, really careful of in objections is that you're not debating someone.
Yeah.
And that's the mistake that so many people, so if you purely go from the logic side, you're going to sound like you're debating somebody.
Yeah.
And there's nothing people want.
Dude, that's my issue because I love debate. I just kind of like debate by naturally, but it's absolutely correct.
When you get in an argument with your significant other, and this applies to sales tips, like when you get in an argument with your significant other or a friend or something like that, do you even have a chance to convince them logically? You have no shot. Like no shot. What has to happen is you have to like take a break, part ways for a little bit, and then come back. And once the emotions die down, then you're like, okay, I can see your point, or okay, you were right, I admit it. But the point being is like, you don't want to find yourself there in the sales objection game, because if you immediately respond and start overcoming, all you're getting into is in a debate, and you'll lose the deal, not because they don't agree with how you overcame the objection, just because they don't want to give you the satisfaction.
Win the argument. Right.
Yeah, they don't want to give you the satisfaction of winning the argument. It's a pride thing. I lose so many deals myself because I have triggered that pride aspect or that, oh man, shoot, I got into debate mode here and I shouldn't have gotten into debate mode. You've got to focus in on understanding, hey, look, people are convinced on logic, they buy on emotion. Objections are a mixture of both. Understanding the emotional side, which is how you communicate, which is making people not feel like you're pushy, then throwing in the logic side, which gets back to what? The value, which is the point that you made, which is why I think I can overcome objections a lot of times, especially for our products and stuff, because my goal at the end of the day is the only reason you won't buy from me is because the value I've presented to you does not outweigh the cost in your mind. So the only reason someone walks away from buying my product today, if I spoke to you today, the only reason you won't buy from me is because the value I presented to you does not outweigh the cost. And what that means is, think about it this way. I always give the example to people of like the lottery, but think about it in terms of like grapes at your grocery store. Would you pay $1 for what do you call is it a bundle of grapes? I
think it's a bunch.
A bunch of grapes. Would you pay $1 for a bunch of grapes?
I think so.
Would you pay 2?
I think so.
Would you pay 3?
I don't know.
And I'm going to keep going up.
I've never bought grapes. I have no idea.
Dude, what are you living the medieval ages? I don't know. Have you not bought grapes? The point being is,
I buy bananas.
Would you pay $20 for a bunch of grapes?
I don't think so.
Correct.
It depends on where they were grown.
It's like a seesaw.
Story behind
like
the
what do you call those scales? Right? It's like eventually.
That's exactly what you call them.
What do they call them? Scales.
You're thinking of the scales of justice. The
scales. But that's all of a sudden it's like the grapes. Start, nope, not going to buy them now. So the point being is like, if you're losing at the listening presentation, why? Because the value that was presented doesn't outweigh the cost in their mind. What is that cost for a real estate agent? It might be this. I believe I can get more money for my house than what you're saying. So the value of me believing that I can get more money and go find it somewhere else than going with you to get me less money, it doesn't work. I'm gonna go spend the time getting somebody else.
That cost of me another agent.
Yeah, that cost of me going to get another agent.
Your objection is competition, or whatever.
Objection is competition, or your objection at that standpoint is they believe it's worth their time to go find another agent, do it themselves, than it is going with you. Gotcha. The value you presented did not outweigh. The same as when someone tells me, hey, at the end of the day, I like your product, Luke, and everything like that. I want to look at other things. Why? Because they ultimately, what they don't see is they don't see me being able to produce the money. I always give the partner and spouse objection or whatever, where, you get to the close and I get to the close with you, Josh, and you go, hey, I want to talk to my wife, Stacy.
Yeah.
Well, here's the reality that I understand. I understand that the reason why you want to talk to your wife, Stacy, is because, well, 2 reasons. One is you might just be using it as an excuse, right? And that's just your way to get me off the phone. So I got to dig deep and see if that's a real reason. Or it could be you legitimately want to talk to Stacy. Why? Because if you came home with $1 million right now for Stacy, would you be scared in the least? If I had $1 million on the table that I was going to give you, would you need to go talk to Stacy or would you take the $1 million?
I think I would take it, but she would probably ask me a lot of questions.
Yeah, where'd you get it
where
from?
I got it.
The point is, you would take it to her course because you see $1 million.
Yeah, the value's there.
You don't see any issues. You're okay with those questions because you see the value right there. The reason why you need to go talk to Stacy is because the fear that you make the wrong decision and go with Luke Acree and American Lifestyle Magazine and it ends up not working. You end up spending your hard-earned money. You end up spending your time getting it set up and sent out. That fear of being beat up by the person you didn't check with or the embarrassment that you wasted the money and wasted the time outweighs the value and the potential gain that I've presented to you. So what's the process that you go through to overcome objections? That's the real, I think, question here on this podcast. When you guys face, and I think you can do this process in any industry, and I think this will help be a guideline for you as you overcome objections. I basically call it acknowledge, isolate, overcome. So the key for objections is understanding that it's both emotional and it's logical. So as I walk through these objections, let me frame it up for you in terms of the wife objection. I get to the close and Josh goes, hey, I need to talk to my wife.
Yep.
Perfect. What is the first step in the process that I need to do? I need to acknowledge that. And you could even say, I think some people say even before the acknowledgement stage, you actually have to listen. So you actually have to listen to Josh's objection. But it's really the same thing in my mind, is you acknowledge it. So I have to go, hey, Josh, completely understand. You need to talk to your wife, man. I hear you. So you almost want to repeat it back. It's
validating their concern. It's letting them know that you heard what they said.
I totally understand you need to talk to your wife. I always say to people, build a camaraderie with people in the acknowledgement.
Find a common ground.
Common ground, camaraderie. Hey, totally understand. I'm married myself. Show them the ring. Make a joke if you think it's this. You have to be a little bit understanding the context of the situation. But you might say, hey, I don't want you sleeping on the couch tonight.
Right.
That type of idea. You're building camaraderie. Or, hey, totally. Someone says, hey, I really appreciate, Luke, you presenting me what you can do to get my house sold. But, I want to go talk to my wife about it because I'm not sure. You go, hey, totally understand. When I was actually selling my house, I wanted to do the exact same thing. So I totally understand that you want to talk to your wife. So it makes them feel camaraderie, and it makes them feel like you are not just saying you understand, but you have a story to go with it. You have some common ground to go with it. Second phase is you want to isolate. This is the phase that most salespeople totally miss. And this is where you'll hear, even on our own sales floor, go out there and listen. People will lose deals because they miss this phase. Isolation phase is one of the most critical phases in sales, because if you don't isolate, people will just keep throwing objection. How many of you have had this happen that are listening to this? They just keep throwing objection after objection after objection. And especially if you do phone sales. So you're trying to book a FSBO appointment and you get to the end and they say, well, I don't go with real estate agents because I don't want the commission. And then you overcome the commission. They go, well, and I don't really see how you would do any different marketing than me. And they keep going and going. You're going to lose the deal by the fatigue of the call, by the fatigue of the presentation. How many of you have been in a presentation, whether it's what is it where they sell you timeshares? How many of you have gone, I've sat through a timeshare presentation. You'll lose the deal by the fatigue you put me through. Now, in car sales, it's a little bit opposite, where they try to fatigue you after they get you because they know it's such a hard transaction.
Well, it becomes an idea of you've invested this much time sitting there.
Yes, correct.
My gosh, do I really want to go through this again? I'll just make this decision here.
What you need to think of in the isolation phase is that if you allow, especially in phone sales, when you guys are doing your phone sales, if you allow so much time to go by when you're overcoming objections, you will lose that deal from fatigue. You will literally lose the deal from fatigue on that phone call. Doesn't mean you can't get into the follow-up, but go listen to some of our other podcasts. Well, I think that there's,
especially on the phone, it is a different beast in the sense that I can just hang up on you at any time. You know what I mean? And I think that's what you run the risk of, where it's like, okay, I've said no, I'm tired of doing this. You hang up. You can't necessarily do that face to face. So maybe that's where
you can't run from somebody face to face.
You can get up and walk away. But I do think the point you're making
you'll still lose the deal face to face. You'll still lose the deal face to face. The only industry I've seen the fatigue really work in, or maybe like two different industries. One is I've seen it work in the car dealership industry, right, or the car industry where they're selling cars. Because of that, they already got you in the deal, and they're fatiguing you in the paperwork in a way, or they're fatiguing you in the rounds of negotiation. I've also seen that work in investments. Like investments in if you're selling companies and stuff like that. I've also seen them do the same thing, where they put you through such a ringer. Like if someone's going to buy your company, they basically get you so excited. They offer you a deal, and then in the due diligence, they beat you down and they beat you down and they beat you down, and they end up getting you because you're so fatigued. And by the end, you're just, I just want this to be done. So you give in. But let's go through this. The acknowledge phase. Hey, totally understand you have a wife. I have a wife myself. Won't want you sleeping on the couch tonight. Totally get that. Hey, let me ask you this, and this is the isolation phase. Totally understand you have a wife. Is it just talking to your wife? Meaning God forbid, but Josh, if you were single, would you give me a try? Because obviously, I know you want to talk to your wife. I totally get that. I want to talk to my wife too as well. I get that stuff. But would you give me a try if it was just you?
Yes.
What you're doing here is you're literally just isolating down to where you're making Josh have to be, and I hate to say you're kind of funneling him or backing him into a corner, but you are. You're trying to go, hey, is this the real reason? In my experience, 9 times out of 10, they will go, yes, but X. They will give another reason, which you have more information, which gets back to the value. What you're really trying to do here is what? Dig for the real pain point, dig for the real problem so you can identify the problem and then offer a solution. And so at this point, you want to isolate and go, hey, Totally understand that, you're thinking that you can get $20,000 more for your home. Let me ask you this, Josh. Obviously I've shown you how I'm going to market the home. Is it just that you want $20,000 more? Is there anything else that you've seen today that would keep you from moving forward with me as your real estate agent? Or is it just that, it's the $20,000 and you're isolating down to now you can do what? That's the emotional side. I'm hearing you. It's logical too in the sense of I keep walking away from the mic and Mark keeps looking at me. It's the logical side, but it's more just the emotion. Hey, I feel you, totally understand. I'm just like that myself, or I've had a client that's been just like that. It's kind of like the feel, felt, found method. And then you go into, is that the only reason? This is very logical. Is that the only reason? It is. Perfect. Then based upon that objection, you can give them a very logical close and then come back with an emotional close. Mm-hmm. So a very logical close would be, what's Josh's objection? He wants to talk to his wife. Okay, perfect. If Josh wants to talk to his wife, let me be very, very logical there. Hey, I'm first going to set it up with the value because you always want to respond with value. Hey, Josh, totally understand. Hey, you want to talk to your wife? That's the only thing holding you back. You obviously see value in, using me for American Lifestyle Magazine because you want to get more referral and repeat business. Let me ask you this, Josh. Do you think your wife, would have any issues with the concept of getting more referral and repeat business? Is that something that she wants as well? Mm-hmm. I'm just reinforcing the value. Of course, my wife wants more referral and repeat business. Perfect. Right. Let's do this. I'll get you set up for this, but I totally understand you want to talk to your wife, and I want to give you the opportunity to do that because it makes perfect sense. Let me get you set up. We'll move you forward on our program. But for any reason, if you talk to your wife, because obviously I'm not in this to push you into something. If you talk to your wife and she doesn't see the value of how American Lifestyle Magazine is going to really get you past the trash can onto the coffee table to really give you those referral and repeat business, we'll cancel it all out because at the end of the day, what I'm about is really helping you get referral and repeat business. And I believe once your wife sees this, she's going to like it. But this way we can move forward and get this out of the pile of good ideas and actually put it into fruition and start moving the ball down the field to really get you those referrals. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So here's what we're going to need to do. And then you're moving to the close. Now, Josh normally won't buy then.
Right.
So normally when you give someone a logical...
What I like about that is so many tips and advice on handling objections involves like acknowledging, responding, and then pivoting, kind of moving away from the objection. So you're kind of subverting it almost in a way. Whereas this is literally tackling the objection head on.
It's very logical.
The whole point of the isolation phase is to really narrow it down and make sure that by the time I get through to that next step, which I may still say, well, I'm not ready to decide today, right? I don't make decisions on the spot.
You probably will say that.
Yeah.
And actually, most people do.
People will,
most people will say, and we had this at the NAR conference. Most people were like, I don't want to make a decision. It's fair. I agree with that. I totally understand you don't want to make a decision today. Stay in agreement, as Grant Cardone would say. You always want to stay in agreement with the potential buyer. Because if you don't stay in agreement, you get into that debate mode. So here I presented a logical thing that's very logical, but you're going to say no. But why do I have you at this point? Why I have you is because you told me you would move forward with this if your wife likes it. If it's just you and your wife likes it, you'll move forward with this. So I got you. So now the only thing between me and the order is your wife. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give you a very logical way out from basically giving me a step or giving me a chance and go talk to your wife because she's not going to say no to this. In fact, sometimes I even go, let's conference your wife in.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very logical. Hey, look, totally understand you want to talk to your wife. Let's conference her in. Oh, we can't conference her in right now. No problem. Let's do this then. And I move forward down this logical step. You're going to say no. But at this point, why are you saying no?
I still haven't seen the value. I haven't made the decision that the value is outweighing the cost.
I would say it's because you're scared.
I'm scared.
You're scared. Meaning, like, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm telling you guys, whether you're in retail, on phone sales, I've been doing this for years. One of the main reasons people don't buy, and I'm going to give you an example of it with my own life. I love music. Mm-hmm. Love it. I played a homeschool growing up, if you guys don't know, played 4 hours a day.
Check out the Acree brothers on MySpace.
Yeah, please.
MySpace.com/Acree.
God help us. Yeah, MySpace, seriously. But the point is, I loved music. I was so excited to go buy a piano, a keyboard. I searched forever.
Right.
Right. When I got up to buying it,
I know.
Here's someone who loves music.
Did the research.
Did the research.
Right?
And I still, I don't want to swipe that credit card. I don't want that $1,100 or whatever dollars it was to leave my account.
Yeah.
It's irrational. It's the fear of the unknown. Am I making the right decision? Is this really the keyboard I want?
Is there a better deal that's going to come along?
Is there a better deal?
Can I get a better price?
You're dealing with,
Right.
it's very rational thoughts in the sense of like, yeah, that's legitimate. Maybe there could be a better deal. Maybe there is something better that's out there. And that fear of the unknown stops people from moving forward. Human beings in their core do not like change. They don't like stepping out of their comfort zone. They don't like taking that leap of faith. How many of you guys like making a decision on the car? Even when you research the car you want to buy, you still are like, should I go to another car dealership? Should I talk to somebody else?
Right. Am I getting swindled? Am I getting taken
swindled? All these
advantage of?
fears.
Right.
This is the point of you've given them logical close. Now you got to overcome that emotion. You got to overcome that emotional close, and you've got to understand that's what they're feeling. And that's what makes you super relatable, is that you can call it out and you can literally say, when they say, hey, I don't know. Hey, Josh, totally understand, man, that's how you feel. Hey, look, do you mind if I share from my heart with you real quick? And this has been a critical. It sounds so corny when you hear it in a training aspect, but it works wonders in practice.
Yeah.
The line, can I share from my heart with you? Hey, can I share from my heart? Because you're not saying, can I be honest with you? Because you don't want to say that.
Right.
Because it sounds like you were lying, right? Right.
So
you don't want to say stuff like, hey, can
wait
I
a
be
minute,
honest
we
with you?
haven't been
You wanna
being
say,
honest?
Yeah. Hey, Josh, do you mind if I just share something from my heart with you, man? And sometimes you can build it up and say, hey, do you mind if I share from my heart with you? It's actually, it's like 4:30 right now. I've been on the phones all day talking to clients. So it feels like it's 8 o'clock at night. It's crazy, man. You mind if I so you can set it up a little bit. But the point that you're going to drive home now is you want to get it vulnerable and raw. Most salespeople are never real. They dance around, and what you guys do is you basically go, I know it's not really talking to his wife. I know it's that maybe he doesn't have the money, or I know it's he doesn't see the value, but you never just straight up and ask him. You never just go, hey, Josh, it probably isn't talking to your wife, is it? It's probably that you don't see enough value in this. And that's totally okay, because you don't give yourself the chance to do that. What you need to do is ask for the logical close and then set yourself up to be super direct. If you feel something, I tell my sales guys all the time, if you feel there's something else there, by golly, man, just say, hey, I believe there's something else there. What are you holding back? But you got to do it in a way that's, hey, it's not about the order. I would love to earn your business.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to set up. So what I do is go, hey, Josh, do you mind if I share something from my heart with you?
Yes.
Perfect. Hey, man, the truth of the matter is I'm just like you. So you build that camaraderie. I'm just like you. So I'm going to frame it up as if you're a real estate agent. I'm just like you, man. This is kind of like my listing presentation. You probably heard me do this at NAR because it's the truth. This is my listing presentation. I'm just like you, man. It's when you get that family sitting across the couch from you and you can sell this home and you're giving them your pitch of how you're going to market it the best, how you're going to put a sign in the yard, how you're going to do open houses, how you're going to call people to drum up business for this. And all you need them to do is give you a chance. Because you've even said, hey, Luke, I love the way you're going to market my home. Hey, Luke, I love it. I would do it if I didn't have to talk to my wife. Really, I totally understand you're talking to me, and I want you to talk to your wife. I want to give you the chance to do that. But the reality is what's holding you back right now is really just that fear of, am I making the right choice? And I can't tell you anything right now that's going to make you overcome that fear. In fact, thinking about it's not going to make you overcome the fear. You can think about it till you're blue in the face and you're still going to wonder, is it really going to work? And that's ultimately why I ask people to give me a chance so I can show them what I can do. Meaning if I'm a real estate agent, so I can show you how I'm going to market the house. If you don't like it in 30 days, I'll rip it up. I'll rip up the contract. If you don't think American lifestyle is going to work for you, I'll make a joke with you, Josh. If you wake up, stub your toe in the middle of the night and take it as an omen not to do business with Luke Acree, no problem. We'll cancel it out. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I have to deliver for you to do business with me long term. And I grow my business off of referrals. And, I want to point you to clients that I've had success with. But the truth is, I just need you to give me a chance. You guys won't believe how many people can overcome that fear.
Well, it's the trust. I mean, what you're doing is you are overcoming the objection of trust that they haven't really said to you. They haven't said that, I don't trust you, but it's the fear of making the decision because they deep down, just like what we talked about with the piano example, I don't trust that I'm getting the best deal. Or I don't trust this. So now you're already overcoming the hidden objection that's lying beneath all of this, which is saying, look, you don't.
And they'll never trust you. Understand
I hate
that.
to say it's the money, you're presenting a money back guarantee. That sounds corny.
You are. But
what you're doing is you are setting up the opportunity to earn their trust by them making a decision today. That's all that you're doing.
Yes, and what I would point out is that you'll never overcome that lack of trust. And the key in that close is to call them out on that. Mm-hmm. I could sit here. Yeah. I tell people all the time when I'm selling them, I could sit here till I'm blue in the face and tell you we have a 4.7 star review on Facebook. We have over 250 top reviews on Facebook, or 5-star reviews. We have tens of thousands of clients we've worked with. We have unbelievable retention rates, blah, 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 blah. But I'm just a sales guy telling you that. All those are true.
Right.
All those are true. But the reality is that do you see value in this product? And you told me you did. Would you try this? You told me you would. Mm-hmm. The only thing really holding you back right now is just the fear of the unknown of knowing if it's going to work or not. And the truth is, I hear you there. And that's why I want you to give me a chance, because I want to earn your business and show you what I can do. And you're giving them the reality that, hey, at the end of the day, it's showing this confidence that going, hey, I understand your fear and I want to earn your business. And I would tell people at even the conference that we went to, hey, no one's going to fight as hard for your business as I'm going to fight. There's not a single vendor around this floor that's going to fight as hard. It sounds super corny. Those are the lines in the emotional part of the overcoming objections that are so critical, because you're not dealing with logic at that point, because they've already agreed logically. Understand in this process, guys, you've acknowledged it, you've isolated it, you've overcome with a logical overcoming. So depending on the objection they throw at you, you've overcome that logically. You said, I totally get where you're coming from there. So, hey, am I getting the best price? So some companies will match the price. Hey, totally understand. Am I getting, or like for us, like what if my list is taken? Right. Hey, totally understand. If your list is taken, don't worry about it.
So how important is it to have all of those objections thought of ahead of time and have a response for it? Like, is most of what you've done there just, do you still overcome objections on the fly, or have you thought through all of those objections?
No, I think the process is more important than the words.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
A little bit,
like,
but I mean, if
I believe in training.
If the objection is timing, right? It's just not a good time for me.
Yes.
Have you already thought through how do you overcome the timing objection?
Yes, I mean to a certain extent.
Or is it literally just saying like, is timing the only issue?
But it's the same. It's, hey, Josh, totally understand, man, time is issue. When is a good time? When is a good time that you would want to start generating referral and repeat business?
Right.
When is that good time for you?
Well, you're putting the value back in there.
Right. So
and you're making it sound, well, that's
a
dumb thing to say, right? Timing.
Yeah. But the point being is that I agree with you, meaning should you know every answer to every objection you face? Absolutely. Absolutely. You should go through and like, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm sure financial advisors have a set of objections that they get, common objections. So for us in our company, I want to see a sample. Mm-hmm. I want to talk to my partner. I want to look at my marketing budget. Like, you should have the answers of how you're going to answer them, but more importantly, what about in real estate?
That, I've said I would use my cousin.
Where you lower your commissions,
like right?
Where you lower your commissions. And I've heard a great overcoming of lowering your commissions that I'll share.
Yeah.
Is that, hey, look, I actually don't lower my commissions. The people who do lower their commissions, the truth is, one, it's they don't believe in the value that they bring to the table. But more importantly, when the first buyer gives an offer on your house, do you want me to lower the price of that, or do you want me to stand my ground in that offer? And the reason why I, won't lower my commissions is because I know the value that I bring to the table. And just like I'll negotiate you the best deal for your house, you won't even have to think about the 3% commission, because you're going to make so much money in the value that you want. The 3% commission is going to be nothing. But if you want to go with somebody who wants to do 2% and negotiate the value of your house, that's acceptable. So that's a really aggressive and confident way, but I love it. I think it's, right in the face. But the point being I'm taking is you're making an unbelievable point. Yes, you should know all your objections inside and out, because you're only going to come up with so many. But I think what's more important is understanding the process psychologically.
Because you can always come back to the framework.
Or I shouldn't say more important, as equally as important is that you should understand the process psychologically. Understand people buy or convinced on logic, buy off emotion. In an objection, you're going to have to understand, you're going to overcome logically, but you'll never close an objection unless you get them emotionally, which is, Grant Cardone always goes, let's go. Give me a chance. Let's roll. Like, that's emotional. That's like, hey, let's roll. It's a shot. Yeah. All right, give me 2% of your trust. I'll earn 98%. Like those type of lines. You're going to need that. Acknowledge is absolutely critical. Isolate is hey, when is a good time? I totally understand. When is a good time? Hey, totally understand. Is it just the timing, Josh? Is that it? Like, meaning, like, if it was September and not March, you would give me a shot.
Yeah.
Perfect. Hey, look, well, let's do this. The only reason the timing is an effect is because of what you told me, X, or because, hey, the only reason timing is the issue right now is because at the end of the day, you told me already that you want to generate referral and repeat business. So if you could generate referral and repeat business today versus having to wait 3 months to do it in September, would that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, then here's what we'll do. Give me a chance, boom, and I overcome logically. Hey, you wanted the referrals, and you're still going to say no. So I'm going to go, hey, look, hey, Josh, totally understand you want timing. I'm a guy that has timing as well. I think it's good to run your business on timing. You have set plans. Totally understand that. Hey, when is a good time that you would actually want to generate referral and repeat business, which is the value? Hey, well, I would obviously want it today, but because of my marketing budget, I want to wait till September.
Right.
Hey, totally understand you want to wait till September. Is it just waiting till September? Meaning if I call you September 1st at 9 a.m. like we're talking right now, would you give me a go?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Then here's what we'll do, man, because I totally understand that you want to wait to September because you're a guy that runs your business on timing. But at the end of the day, you already told me that if you could start generating referral and repeat business today, you would want that. And so here's what I'm offering for you to do is that give me a chance to show you that I'm going to generate referral and repeat business for you today. And then we'll add it into your main plan come September when you do your marketing budget. But this way I can show you today, like I've showed my 10,000 other clients, of how I'm generating referral and repeat business. Does that make sense? Generating referral and repeat business today versus September?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Let's roll. Now, he's not going to say yes right there, right? He's going to say, well, Luke, I totally understand, but I don't have the money. Or Luke, I totally understand, but I really want to wait. Hey, totally understand that you want to wait. And now I have to get into that emotional closing of the objection, which is, hey, look, man, totally understand that you want to wait. So no worries. I'll put you down for a follow-up call in September because I know timing's the issue for you. So I'll put you hey, Josh, before I let you go, do you mind if I share from my heart with you? You see how the process comes back the same? Hey, do you mind if I share from my heart?
Yeah, it goes in circles, yeah.
You want to acknowledge it, isolate it, overcome. He's still going to say no. You want to circle back around. Hey, do you mind if I'm just super direct with you right now? Meaning, do you mind if I share from my heart with you? The reality is there's no difference between March and September. The only difference is time.
Yeah.
And the only difference is when you want to be successful. And the truth is, I've sat here and I've given you my value proposition, because at this point, guys, you got to understand in context of overcoming objections, you've given them a whole value proposition that they've agreed to. They wouldn't have stayed on the phone with you for 15 minutes. They wouldn't have listened to your whole presentation and had you come into their home if they didn't believe there was value there. They wouldn't have done that. And so you've given them this whole presentation of context of value that they probably buy into. When you get to the point of an objection, it's because you're at the point where you see you can ask for the order. The only thing holding them back at that point is that maybe you didn't do a good enough value proposition, but 9 times out of 10, it's that they just are scared that what you presented won't work. It won't be the keyboard that I buy. There's going to be a better deal tomorrow and I missed out.
Right.
There's going to be a better keyboard introduced next week and I made the bad mistake. The car I buy, was it really the car I wanted?
Yeah.
And that's rational to think about, irrational, because you'll never make decisions in life that way.
The tendency is always going to be to go back to trying to logic out of the next thing versus always bringing it back. And just remember, acknowledge, isolate.
Acknowledge, isolate, overcome, emotionally overcome.
Yeah.
Through this whole process, you're adding value. Acknowledge, add value. Isolate, add value. Overcome, add value. And when I say add value, what I mean by that is refer back to your value proposition.
How do you know when it's done? How do you know
That's a
it's
great question. Me personally.
In your mind, never.
Yeah, it's never done. Well, a no's not an ever. Quote
Right.
that. A no's not an ever. So understand it. Here's when I think it's done.
Andrea gave the thumbs up.
Andrea gave the thumbs up. Here's when I think it's done is when they have been real with you is the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
you're tapping into emotional intelligence there as well. So you do have to recognize
it's
when you're pushing someone
case by case a little bit, but meaning like at the NAR, people are done at different times. Obviously, at the NAR conference when we were trying to sign people up. But the point being is like when they have gone and shared something you'll know this. Here's how is. You'll go through your whole pitch and your presentation. You'll go through overcoming the first objection, and it will feel kind of fake.
Right.
You'll know when they share something with you that's real.
Yeah.
Like I have people have shared with me, hey, I have no money in my bank account.
Right.
I have people.
Yeah,
now, could they be lying? Of course they could be. But at that point, they're sharing.
We've all been there.
Yeah, correct. Seriously, we definitely have all been there. The point being is like they'll share with you in an openness and a realness that you didn't get through the whole presentation and that you did not get in the overcoming of the first, second, third objection. We usually have to overcome 3 objections before we get someone to buy.
Yeah.
The point being is that you'll know, but it is that emotional intelligence. It is that understanding. If you're pushing for the credit card over and over again and someone's not doing it and you're not giving the value of what you're selling, you're probably pushing too much.
Yeah.
You're probably pushing too
Makes
much.
sense. Yeah. Well, that was, I tell you
Dude,
what, that was the easiest podcast I ever did.
can't believe that was 31 minutes. I feel like we barely talked about anything. I really do. I feel like we barely talked about anything. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyways,
awesome.
maybe we'll do objections again sometime.
We might. If you guys have any questions, you're listening to this and you have specific questions about that process, that framework, specific objections that you get in your business, we would love to get those from you, because I think the more that we can...
And we could talk about them.
We can talk about it. We can go over it. We can get some feedback from you guys. We'll challenge Luke.
Yeah.
That should be a new segment.
Yeah.
Stump
Luke. Challenge me on the fly.
Stump
that would
Luke
be
on
awesome.
The fly. But that's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked what you heard today here on Stay Paid, please go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, and make sure to leave a comment. You can also find our podcast in video on youtube.com/ReminderMedia, and you can check out this stunning beard.
Man, that's coming in. It's terrible.
You got a little something on your chin there.
Do I really?
Yeah, something on your chin.
That's it. Look at this.
Now, is this going to continue past November? That's
no, probably. Well, maybe if my wife loves it.
You guys heard the story last week. Luke lost a bet to a sales caller, so
it's
he had
dumb
to
bet,
this
man. Super dumb bet.
For Movember.
Movember. I've never grown a beard. Andrea likes it.
I think it looks nice.
Yeah.
I'm
Josh
personally
thinks
on
it looks
Beard
nice.
Watch 2019. I want to see how. I just want to keep letting it grow. I want to get it.
Dude, Duck Dynasty style.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
That's it.
Yes.
Anyway, make sure
check us out on YouTube to see my beard and Josh's Duck Dynasty beard.
Make sure to tell someone about the podcast today. We really appreciate it. If you'd like to get a hold of me or Luke, please email us at podcast@remindermedia.com or find us on Instagram or LinkedIn. And of course, you can check out Reminder Media on social media. We are at Reminder Media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Acree. Yes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to close out this way, guys. It's an action item from every podcast. And I think the action item is pretty obvious here is look at your industry that you're in, right? If you're a real estate agent, an insurance agent, financial advisor, whatever, what are your top 3 objections? And walk them through this process of acknowledge, isolate, overcome, and ask yourself, like, here would be a great exercise is write them down. What's your top 3 objections? And then go answer them. And then see, does it follow a process of acknowledging, isolating, overcoming, and then overcoming with the emotional close? And if it doesn't, try to build your objection overcoming in that framework to see how you can start tweaking your objection and see what success you get. Then go to staypaidpodcast.com, comment, tell us, go to our Facebook page, tell us kind of how you're having success with it, because we'd love to hear it. Remember, the difference between a top producer and a mediocre producer is top producers take action on that today.